Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology update for February 3rd through 10th, 2025. Well, we've just had a very potent new moon in Aquarius on the 29th of January, leading us into Chinese New Year. Chinese New Year, year of the wood snake. So, this Chinese New Year has the energy of a new start and a new cycle. We're here at the beginning of the calendar year as well. And we also have a lot of energies speaking to this new start, this new direction. Uranus turned direct on January 31st, and Jupiter will turn direct on February 4th. So these two big player planets moving forward again is a game changer. But we're in the middle of retrograde, just deep experience of retrograde. So we have this juxtaposition, of the doors opening to the new and the future. We've been through this alignment energy. We're in the alignment. And the alignment says, the energy of alignment says, yeah, okay, so aligning. And if you were not aligned before, and then you got aligned, if we got aligned, then that means probably a new direction, right? So these are all the squares we've been feeling. And so actually the main tension or the main energy over the new moon was Mercury in conjunction with Pluto. And they have just come off of each other. Pluto has made it to 2 degrees Aquarius. So that's like the official start. It's like, okay, now Pluto's not going to go back into Capricorn, and it's made it to 2 degrees Aquarius. And so next month, moving into new territory. Now, that's kind of the energy of Saturn, too. Saturn, we're coming up where Saturn is coming out of his retrograde shadow on the 15th of February. So we're having these incremental little pushes, like we're standing on the edge of the cliff, And it is such a strange feeling right now that we know we're coming to the end, or are we at the beginning, or are we in 0 point? I just did a couple of card readings and the Fool came up in both of them, which is the 0 card, the Joker. And so it's kind of like where we go, nobody knows. The Fool is coming to the edge of the cliff, but he doesn't care because he's packed lightly. He's got his animal friend. He's in total trust. He's with the mother, right? Because that's the 0 point. And everything right now is really about bringing us back to that mother energy, what really matters, the only thing that can move us forward. And we're feeling this with Mars retrograde in Cancer. And Mars has made it to 18 degrees Cancer and will retrograde back to 17 degrees Cancer. And so then turn direct on the 24th of February at 17 degrees. So this whole month hanging out between the degrees of 17, 19 degrees. So 19 degrees is where Chiron is. And so that is a square with Chiron that Mars is just coming into. This is exact from the 3rd to the 6th. So Mars in Cancer retrograde in square to Chiron in Aries. Very, very powerful energies. Chiron is deep wounds around where we gave our power and our energy away. And wow, are we realizing this? How we've been through our own insecurities and buying into the story and playing small. We have been, by denying our own power, we've been leaking out our energy for the lower matrix realities. And maybe this is the same energy as the shame as we come back to Mother Earth. Like, do I deserve this abundance? Do I deserve this love? Do I deserve this support? Because I went so far away from her. And so Mars retrograde in Cancer is this coming home to mom. It's the wounded warrior. Why shed all the blood? What's the point? What are we fighting for? What are we doing? And it's when that wounded warrior recognizes the sanctity, power of life itself as the mother comes and holds him in a palpable, visceral embrace. And this is what's available for us right now. Coming home to mom doesn't mean like, oh, I'm integrating my feminine. It's like, no, you're walking in her mantle of love. You are an emissary. You walk forth to demonstrate and preach, not in that way, but through your energy, through your being, her love, her truth, her laws. Because we're coming into this. Cancer is opposite of Capricorn, and we're trying to figure out what this period of time of Pluto and Capricorn has been about. We're still feeling this, that Mercury-Pluto conjunction at one, moving from 1 to 2 degrees in Aquarius. It's like, whoa, because Mercury, we're just starting to figure out too, we're still integrating the Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. And so Mercury moving into Aquarius and meeting up with Pluto just as it goes to 2 degrees, it's like, okay, what are we doing? What is the understanding? What we're breaking down and building, transforming in the Aquarian, the energy of the Aquarian Age. So there's this kind of like reverberation of the authority energies of the end degrees of Capricorn, because Pluto, that Mercury-Pluto conjunction, and now that's coming off, and we're kind of like, huh. So there's an energy of being released from mind control with Pluto moving into Aquarius. It's like we don't know what it feels like to not have a planet in Capricorn, which is it's a very grounded energy. It's a very serious energy, especially Pluto is like, Pluto is the destroyer, but only destroying what's no longer needed. But all the structures of our lives are no longer needed because they don't support the true self of who we are. And this is what's really going on for supernova souls. We're landing home as who we really are and what we really are. And so many of us have felt completely harassed, unable to feel safe, and find sanctuary in our mind and our bodies and our houses and our lives, just constant harassment. This has been over lifetimes, and the energy of this shift is that like we're claiming back Mother's garden on earth. And Mother's garden, the reason why we have been pushed to the limit, and we've been pushed too far this time, and Mother Earth is going to take back her organic life. Because it's like that just inability to continue to host the parasitic, satanic life going against life, and we're just, it's like that is the inside out of what's happening in our world right now. Our timelines, our reality, we're turning inside out and we're bringing back the mother to the fold. And if we're doing that, we have to start with her and go back to her and move only from that place, because the whole energy of how we got out of alignment and disconnected with her was that we were told in Atlantean catastrophes, supernova souls, that we ourselves caused those catastrophes. We were working with advanced technology, but the technologies we were working with were absolutely in alignment with the mother. And we saw that when we went back in the activation to experience this, what it was like pre-Atlantean catastrophes and what it's been like ever since. So it's time for us, as the organic gifts, the advanced souls holding the vision of Mother Earth's evolution, to feel safe again on Mother Earth, don't you think? Have we worked long and hard enough now? And this is the thing. It's like, okay, the mother's authority is like, stop fighting, stop running. Like you're only fighting because you feel like you need to run. And what if you just stand where you're at in her authority and come what may? Maybe this is the 0 point. We've been running and fighting and running and fighting. And it's like, she wins. She wins right now. And, it's a fearlessness and a ferocity that's coming as we come back into this, our God-given right, our mother, our loving Mother Earth, this field of energy that we get to be in, work with, and feel supported by. Now, we were in alignment with that field when the Atlantean catastrophes occurred, but we were framed to think that it was our fault. So we're going to continue to be harassed on every level of our existence as long as we're not owning our power, because they want our power. You as a supernova soul have the power to create an empire and hold worlds together. And so, see where we're at? So there's this very powerful turnaround moment for the supernova soul of like the running and the fighting, and just where we turn and we face and we stand in the mother's authority and say, come what may, she wins. Right here, the mother's garden lives and exists. This is the quintessential issue of our time, is autonomy. What we're finding is that because of the infiltration technologically that we're not being told about, and through external energetic and psychology, it's like we have been completely controlled, and a parasitic virus. This energy is a parasitic energy. Now, that energy steals our energy, especially us co-creator souls, visionaries, and uses it to supply the lower matrix. Now, what's happening is, we saw this picture of Ma Durga, right? Like slicing through the tiger claws. The matrix realities are, the quarantine is up, And the other picture that's coming is that we're like trying to embody. This is the transit coming up. Next week, we'll be feeling Mercury and Mars are coming. Mercury's catching, not Mercury and Mars, Mercury and the Sun. Mercury is catching back up to the Sun after the retrograde in Sag. So that's why we're like re-examining, be like, okay, this is the cycle, right? It's like now Mercury is informing the Sun about that Sag retrograde. And then together, they're going to square up they're going to come together at 20 degrees Aquarius and square up with Uranus at 23 degrees Taurus. So Uranus having just turned direct on the 31st. So it's very like a very powerful understanding and realization about the Mercury retrograde in Sag, the quest that we've gotten off of. And now we understand more about the quest. And that has to do with claiming back our technologies, and the lies that have buried our technology, and the harmful practices and the horrible abuses that we've experienced, And so in coming back to this very, very important concept of, first of all, we know we have to come back to the mother and what really matters, and we know we need autonomy because we cannot leak our power out anymore. How can we move into the abundance of the new age and leak it out to the lower matrix? So we didn't know we were doing this. And this is where we are taking hold on a cellular level, the battle, but something has shifted in that. And this is the energy of where we're at right now with Saturn coming out of retrograde shadow. Something has shifted. And the shift is the inside out, coming back to the mother's world and laws and reality. And the resources of Earth are available and want to and excited about supporting you in your work here rather than working against you. So that's a big change, and that's what we've been talking about, like the Stockholm syndrome. Like, okay, we've been in chains, we've been scared of our own power, we're at the edge of coming into our power, we don't have a choice, and then a lot of supernova souls been just like, it's almost like a feeling like you're in a pinball game and constant levers and triggers back into trauma, Now, this is a really important thing because we've got Venus coming up to Neptune in Pisces. And this is really important because Neptune in Pisces is about a completion and an understanding and a moving forward and a rehash of the Piscean Age. Neptune coming to the end degrees of Pisces. Neptune will move in to Aries on March 30th. Go over the Aries point for the first time. Neptune will do that, and Saturn will do that as well this year, as well as Mercury and Venus retrograding over the Aries point. This is a complete rebirth process that we're in, So that is really powerful that Venus on the 1st actually came up to Neptune on February 1st, and then on February 2nd, just over these last couple of days, Venus going over the North Node. So just before Neptune leaves Pisces, now Neptune's been in Pisces since 2011. So this is really huge too, right? Pluto out of Capricorn since 2008, Neptune out of Pisces. Of course, it's going to go back into Pisces in October and then come back into Aries January 26th. 26, that's the marker. That's the new. So it's like right now we're starting the timeline, the new timeline, and we really get to completely leave the old behind as we move into 2026, it looks like. So it's like concurrent back and forth, but we know that we're claiming our autonomy and our sovereignty as souls. We're anchoring in our body, bringing in our light, and saying, I get to be here on earth, and not only do I get to be here, I get to be safe and supported. And this is what it's going to look like, you know, for the mothers, for the earth stewards, you know, doing the mother's work. It's just how it is, you know. So it's a huge, huge turnaround. And I think that's just kind of so what's happening is that Venus going over Neptune in the North Node over the last couple of days, and we'll feel that through the first week of February. But what that's really doing is bringing together Neptune in the North Node. Neptune in the North Node, the nodes in January just moved into Pisces, North Node, Virgo, South Node, and they move backwards through the zodiac. So coming back through the end degrees of Pisces, right? Because it's like, wow. And so Neptune's coming the end degrees, and now the North Node is going over that point. And the North Node is how are we going to get to where we're going? And what is the path forward? And so the path forward in Pisces is about spiritual, remembering that we're on a spiritual path. We're spiritual beings. And it's a spiritual quest. And we're coming back to source. And we're reclaiming the miracles and the magic. So it's so powerful that Neptune will be going into this conjunction with the North Node. It's so kind of, it's got this huge energy of destiny to it, because the North Node is that destiny feeling. It's like the only way forward, you know. And so the only way forward is Neptune. And Neptune has been about the control of the magic in the Piscean Age, the persecution of the magic, and the mysteries and the healing and the miracles. And now Neptune is about us freeing ourselves back into our full spiritual expression of spiritual service. And so the only way forward is spiritual service and aligning with something greater, you know. And the easiest way to get to something greater is through mom. She births us all. We have to go through her. And that's Mars retrograde in Cancer. So Neptune and the North Node will be together exact from February 2nd through the 9th. And but we'll feel that transit all the way into April. And there's quite a few things that are happening right now that we'll feel through April. And it's telling us, because I kind of got this picture, February, March, April, you know, we are having that 180-degree turn. And it's like we got to Jimmy the lock. We're going back and forth. We're 3 passes of Mercury and Venus over the Aries point, you know, and so we're just like ratcheting up into a new reality. And so it's starting now, but we have a massive adjustment because it's completely opposite of the way we've been living. And that's where we come to this energy around our false self. That we're like, the picture I got was that here we've been battling with not wanting to feed the lower matrix energies and try to take our mind back and our peace back, and you know, and our emotions back, and our just constant 24/7 focusing on good vibrations when the world is just like, you know. And so we've been focusing a lot on trying to not feed the matrix. But the picture I'm seeing is that this embodiment that's happening, which probably is really triggered with Uranus turning direct in Taurus, because Uranus is also coming to the end degrees of Taurus. So we're coming to all these completions big cycles of completion, you know. But Uranus in Taurus turning direct is about this embodiment of our power. And the picture I saw was that what really breaks the matrix, because it's like if we stop feeding it, yeah, that's what's going on, right? Slowly starving the US corporation. But where there's a different way actually that the matrix breaks. And the picture is no pressure, supernova souls. It's like as we embody who we are in this true, more bigger, true self that we've been shown we have, but it couldn't fit here. So we don't know who we are in this bigger self, but it's landing and we have to embody it and bring it in. But the matrix can't support us in this bigger suit, in our giant suit, right? So as we put on and embody and pull in our true soul and our true soul essence, it's like we're becoming giants. And the little tiny square peg isn't going to fit us anymore. And that's what breaks the matrix. And I have been seeing images of this and energies of this, of like literally supernova souls in their energy field just getting really, really big. Like, were we the giants, the master builders that built all this amazing stuff through levitation that's been destroyed? They destroyed all the beautiful things we built in the name of trying to control humanity and make this a slave planet. Our creation. Our co-creation, Mother Earth, they destroyed it. Is this why we can't get over the grief? We're living in the rubble and we have not been told the true story. What's it going to take? Us to come back in to our giant self? You know, because I saw this picture of like, oh God, at first it feels so tight and restrictive because the matrix says no. That bigger self of you can't fit here. And you're like, well, have you been feeling this tension? Like, it's like, you know, and that tiger, and that we need to break through in our strength and our will, the dimensional quarantines, you know, because that bigger self can be in all dimensions at once. Like, and so anyway, that's just a picture that came through of like pulling on your suit of who you really are. And it's like stretching and pushing. And so it's like just you've been in a really uncomfortable place. But there does seem to be a shift and a breakthrough with Mercury moving out of Capricorn and getting out of that conjunction with Pluto, and Uranus direct, Jupiter direct, Saturn coming out of retrograde shadow. So Saturn comes out of retrograde shadow on the 15th of February, and that is the energy of moving into new territory in the timeline. Okay, because we're taking over the timeline from Saturn, using physical reality to control and enslave human souls, right? So we're undoing this. And so that is Saturn. We need, so it's the Piscean age that really was the persecution, the height of the persecutions of spiritual persecution. So we've got to undo that pain and that trauma. And that's what the Saturn retrograde has been. But Saturn will be moving into Aries, right? And so Saturn's coming to the end of the Pisces. We have to rewrite and rework the Piscean age. So this is the time that we do it. And right when Saturn comes out of retrograde shadow is the reworking, rewriting. Mom comes along. She's got the torch. She's like, mine. You know, enough of our consciousness is on board. It's mine again. She's carrying the torch. She's holding the vibe. It's the mother's world again. And we're right here. We're right here. That means for you, you have to be able to receive the abundance of who you are. And that's why we've had to do so much in this last activation around Atlantean time to release the fear and trauma programming around your power. Because you need it. You have to have it. You have to work with it. And it feels so good, actually. They've gotten us all scared and in tension and all this, like, so many supernova souls, you don't even realize you're doing it, but clearing so much trauma, shrapnel, fear programming from past lives, and just having to sit in a soup of terror. And this is the message around this, okay? Because going back to the infiltration in our bodies, our sacred form with the nanotech and the biosensors that are self-replicating graphene particles, that are using our life force in order to create machinery in our own body, right? But that energy of the nano builds up in the trauma centers of the brain, And so mom is saying that there is shrapnel. It's like an accident, right? It's like a big crash. It's like all of this garbage and pain and trauma, and we've been stuck in this. But she says we've been trying to run from it. But where you want to be, she says, is on the inside. We got to go to the inside, because that's where the pineal gland is, and the activation of the pituitary gland and the pineal gland at the center of the brainstem, And so the trauma programming and continually triggered through targeting to keep us in that place. So we never go to center. We keep running outside our own body. They've been trying to get us to give up our body so that entities can take over. But you're a supernova soul. Do you understand now who you are? Why you've been fighting for your life, not just for you, for all human souls. They're ours. They belong to the mother, and we're taking them home now. In whatever shape and form they're at. It's not, the entities do not have rightful access to that energy in that soul. Even if that soul was manipulated and giving over their power, it's like, this is the laws and rules. We're not going to have parasitic feeding anymore. We're going to have nurturing abundance off the tit of life. Okay? Get out of here is the deal. Because mom's home now. She's awake. But listen to her. Listen to this message. She says, in order to take back her world like she's doing right now, it's kind of like we've gotten these pictures, these messages like, mom's taking it back. Mom's taking it back. But she says, I need you. We're in this together. The earth is, Gaia consciousness is all living beings, right? She's got to have us with her. And this is what's going on in the world. The feminine needs us with her to listen to our emotions, to listen to our intuition, to heal our trauma, to heal our healer, to get back to the healing work. And so can we go and be unafraid? Say, well, the fear programming, that I feel scared, but it's programming. It's not going anywhere. And I'm not running from it this time. And I'm not going to fight it. We're above and beyond fighting for survival now. We are receiving thrival. We have to. It's our world. So mom says that what she needs us with her, right? And then that translates to us being with ourselves in radical self-care to help support our incarnation of this incredible light that we are. So, and this is what it feels like. It's almost like there's one energy, the mother holding the torch, and she's waiting, holding it with such vigilance. And she's waiting for everyone to come back around to it. It's just like, and so we've been holding a torch, feeling all alone, holding her torch, all quarantined and all alone, doubting and invalidated at every turn, told we're silly and crazy, while we're saving the world. Have we had enough of this treatment of abuse? Because we came to heal and save Mother Earth. And we've been with her since the beginning. We belong here. It's our world. It's your body. So do you understand the fight we've been in? For our world, our earth, and our on a cellular level in our body. So to be with her, she's like, I need you with me to do this. Because we're in a consciousness experiment. And you guys are the consciousness. We're connected. I need you with me. And so we have to feel that energy within our being of what the divine feminine, the mother in us needs. the healer in us needs, the baby in us needs, the infant, the child, you know, the woman, the man. And that's how we're with her. But that's hard because we haven't been very good at taking care of ourselves, have we, supernova souls? Low self-worth, and we got a lot of garbage to clean up. And it's like, whoa, out of here, man. Just cannot host it anymore. So rapid detox is happening in our physical body. Support that as much as possible. And psychic detox as well. It feels like the clamp, the hold of the parasitic control forces has been lessened, released. We'll see what happens. But that's what the astrology says too. Now we go. We're still in retrograde, but we're out of the dungeon now, at least. You know, still waiting for our friends to come find us. But at least we're out of the torture chamber. And now we run with it. And we say, no, I'm with her. I've been with her. And I'm just going to, whatever trauma occurs around me and whatever energies come up to be healed, because I'm moving forward now, you know, I'm just going to sit in it and I'm going to move to the center. I'm not going to run from it. I'm going to move to the center, because at the center is that golden, orange, beautiful light. You know, the light that burns on its own, you know, forever and ever. The eternal flame. And it's right in our very own body, literally. So can you make it through the shrapnel and the trauma, the wreckage of all these lifetimes to get back to the hearth at the center? No more fighting, no more running, just standing. And it might be sitting, and it might be laying down, and it might be in tears. But you're with her. And she's never, ever going to leave you, and you're never going to let her go. So let's do this, supernova souls. But wow. I mean, this Cancer retrograde is the wounded warrior laying there on the ground, just like surrender, you know. 17 degrees, very powerful number of transformation, is where that Mars will turn direct. So Mars will come back into a square with Black Moon Lilith, and will continue to stay in square with Chiron through, like I said, through April. And we also are going to feel Neptune in the North Node through April. And that's also, we're going to feel these retrograde energies as well. So the energy of Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde, both in Pisces, Aries, and then going back into Pisces and back in Aries. And they will interact with the North Node, and also with Pluto. Or, I'm sorry. So that's Mars is interacting with Pluto 3 times. Just had its second turn, and will have its third and final. So this is all just kind of playing out. And so the energies of Neptune North Node, it's a new way forward. We're not playing the persecution stories anymore. We're going to have the healing and miracles and magic now. You know, Christ consciousness, spiritual service, the only way forward. Mars retrograde, the wounded warrior, back to the mother, in square to Chiron for 3 months. You know, from the end of January through the first week of April. So 2.5 months, Mars square Chiron, and Mars in Cancer retrograde. So it's like, this is what the whole Mars retrograde is about, that we have to go back to her, to mother, to what matters, to her world, what's right and good and true, in order to move forward. The wounded warrior must be healed and whole, and know why he's fighting, or the new way to fight, which isn't fighting. And so Mars square Chiron in Aries, that the wounds over giving our life force away. So it's like, ironically, we take back our life force by going back to mom and healing, and then the autonomy piece, you know. So that is so on the table. And we have this as Jupiter and Uranus have just turned direct, Saturn coming out of retrograde shadow. And so we're pushing forward, and the big push is Jupiter in Gemini at 11 degrees. 11 degrees is a number of facing off. It's half of 22. right? So it's like almost like take that master builder, beautiful opportunities of using higher technology to create a better world and cutting it in half, the separation, taking it. It's a war. It's a portal to something new and different, but it's also heading off against the enemy. So Jupiter turning direct at 11 degrees Gemini is also a 2, 1 and 1. And Gemini is the twins. And so it's like working together, cooperatively working together and moving forward with the voice. There's been a big shift, right? There's a lot of suppressed voices on the whole world, and the feminine voice has been suppressed for a very long time. And it's like, of course, supernova souls have been suppressed in their voice for so long, so much inside of you, and beautiful gifts and skills and wisdom and treasures, and so it's like we just barely have a voice, right? We could just barely finding our voice back. And then this Jupiter turning direct is the wind and the fresh, the movement and the energy, and just like, the release of the oppression of the stuck emotions that it hasn't been safe for us to express or feel in this world, because if you're in survival mode, barely feeling like you can exist, then, you don't have a voice. It's time for us to have a voice. True human souls, the power. Now, this is the activation of the sun and Mercury coming together. So Mercury catching back up to the sun. That happens on the 9th of February. And then Mercury will square up, and they are trining with Jupiter. So the sun just trined up with Jupiter at the end of January. And Mercury will trine up with Jupiter on the 4th of February, and then they come together. So first trining Jupiter, so it's like a new perspective on that square between Saturn and Jupiter. It's first trining Jupiter and Jupiter direct, so who we are in Aquarius and our understanding, Mercury coming together of who we are in the Aquarian Age, in trine to Jupiter, singing the song of freedom. Setting free our divine goddess to be in her, the abundant potential, to sing the voice, to bring forward the truth, sing the song of the true identity of the Aquarian Age. And so then they come into square on the 11th. Mercury will square Uranus. On the 12th, the sun will square Uranus. So it's very powerful that they come together and make this square with Uranus and Taurus just turn direct. And we're heading in new directions around owning our technology and embodiment of our technology in Taurus. So it's like understanding who we are in the Aquarian Age is about embodying our technology. Wounded warrior coming home. So we move in new directions according to the goddess, according to the mother, and dream a new dream, her original dream, with that Neptune, Venus, North Node conjunction. The way astrology is lining up in these times is so powerful. It's like you just talk about it and you're like, wow, because the cycles that they have to go through to get to this point where it's like bam, 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 bam. And can we be there? Can we look back and be like, whoa, I made it this far? And that takes, it's saying that even though you might still be living out the trauma energies, it's actually shifted because you're having a moment to assess how hard it's been. You can't do that if you're still in it, And it's very powerful of being like, oh, okay. And then this overpowering energy of power of that tiger, of Ma Durga, of the mother energy within our being and the mother's authority of like that done running and fighting. And I've been through enough now, and the world's going to take care of me now and us and the way it should be. We're done playing, just this incredibly powerful authority in your own being. And the only way we can really allow that to happen and feel safe with our energy and our power is to know that it's mother's. Because they told us that mother's energy created the catastrophes and our energy with the mother. And we hurt her, right? And so it's actually, they hijacked the mother's energy and created catastrophe. And now she says, I'm not going to do that anymore. So those of us who have been holding on to the old constructs out of survival, right? They're dismantling, and it's painful in a way, right? Like, because it's all we've known. And even though we've been scrambling to survive, it's like, that's what's kept us safe, you know? So a complete rewiring and reworking, and knowing that we never hurt her. She never wanted us to hurt. And we're in this together, and we come back into this beautiful co-creation. So that's what everything seems to be talking about. The other thing that's going on is over this next period of time, over the same period of time, from the end of January to into mid-April, we also have Mars in trine to Saturn. So this is incredibly supportive and helpful. So Mars in Cancer, retrograding, Saturn moving is direct, coming out of retrograde shadow. Saturn's at 17 degrees, moving to 18 this week, and Mars is at 19, moving to 18. And so a beautiful and exact trine between Mars and Cancer, retrograde, Saturn moving out of retrograde shadow in Pisces. From the 7th to 11th of February is when it's exact. Now they come back together in another trine when Mars turns direct, after Mars turns direct, and that's in the first week in April. But get this, they stay close the whole time. So we're going to feel the influence exact at the second week of February and the first week of April, but the whole time in between, And so Mars in Cancer, and so when Mars is direct in Cancer, you can see how that is harmoniously moving like water wheel, the timeline forward. Like, okay, we're back with the mother. We've been reinstated in her heart. The warrior knows what he's fighting for, and he doesn't have to even fight. And now we move. Now, this is the energy of this next year ahead with the south node of the moon in Virgo. Because Virgo is the healer and the cleaner upper, the organizer. And the purge is what's happening. South node in Virgo says it's a purge of the earth. Year of the snake. We're going to get rid of that reptilian influence and have our own shedding of the skin of the false personality construct that has allowed us to survive the matrix. And it's interesting because it's a shedding of that skin, but we saw was putting on our big suit of who we really are, So it's a shedding of the false self and an embodiment of the true self. And it's all lining up for us. Are we going to take this opportunity, to transform? So very powerful energies, and we are basically everything that we're working on, which I think maybe why we're feeling a big shift with Uranus turning direct, is that all of this is kind of hinging on poverty consciousness, and we're moving into abundance. And that is where we come back to this concept where we've got to claim our autonomy. And so that comes back to the other thing that's happened. So Mars is in trine to Saturn, but square to Chiron. Chiron in an inconjunct relationship to Saturn. Inconjunct is across the way, one sign over. And that is an adjustment that needs to be made. So the new timeline forward and an inconjunct relationship to Chiron says we have to have that autonomy. We have to have that sovereignty. And so a lot of supernova souls are working on this. Deep, insidious contractual arrangements that you didn't even know were there. They've been hidden. And we're like really cleaning house. The purge is on. But also just remember that it's not your mess to clean up either. Like, don't get stuck in the shrapnel mess. That can be dematerialized later, right? Like, we got the technology to just dematerialize that. But for now, go to the center, go to the torch, go to the flame, go to the sacred flame in the goddess temple that exists in your field. So this is the importance of the autonomy according to the mother's laws and rules, is that our energy is ours. What was given to us through this sacred form, a direct connection to source, is ours. only for us, only for our creations, you know? So it's weird because we're coming into this great oneness, this understanding of how connected we all are, and coming back to the energy of the mother. But she says we can't get through this period unless you come into who you really are in your autonomy and your individuality. That's how you're a warrior for me, you know, not to just give over, but to be holding the space, right? So it's like the Fool is in surrender, but it's a surrender in the heart of ebullient joy and trust in the mother to catch him as he falls off the cliff. 0 point. And I could say pretty much 0 point for this next 3 months. Are you ready for 3 months of 0 point? What's that look like? Is it time to clean up on all levels? The detox is happening in our bodies. Detox, organize, clean up our lives. You know, it might be that you can feel like you can think straight again after a long time of being completely harassed emotionally and spiritually and energetically through this nanotech. And we got to run with it. You know, we've got to be ready at the gate to run with it. Like, okay, I'm not going to just take my energy back. I mean, we have a lot of healing and resting to do and recovery, but we also have to continue to move in the new way. And this is the water energy. Mars retrograde trine Saturn in Pisces, coming out of retrograde shadow, moving into the new timeline. So that Mars direct is like moving the timeline forward, breaking the dam, bringing the energetic creative flow back into our lives. So I guess then the Venus and Mercury retrograde that will be happening in March and April will be about adjusting to that. And a rebirth, like we got to complete, we're in the birth canal. We got to complete the rebirth, which is pretty much through this whole year is the energy of rebirth. And almost like maybe we're in labor and then we're a helpless infant and then we're transforming into the power of the goddess that births all babies, you know. It's powerful, and I'm so happy to be here with you, Supernova Souls. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate your donations. It's such a huge help right now to hold the space for this work while the goddess temple is just being held there. We are building this energy together. And so if you appreciate this ad-free space without any advertisements on YouTube and you'd like to offer a donation, there's a link to donate in the information box below. Also, a way to support is be a part of the Supernova Soul Tribe. $20 a month gets you into the new and full moon activations and support and resources for Supernova Souls, and hopefully an organization that can really support us as these avenues are open on the creative energy. What happens when the creative energy flows again is that it's also going, you know, like the water going around the matrix quarantines, right? It's like, oh no, we can go around this. There's still the shrapnel, but the water can find its way around and we can find our way to each other, to the sacred places we're called to go, to dance and sing and pray and celebrate with our loving organic Mother Earth and bring her into form by our command and demand and sacred connection with her. And this is about bringing back the joy, the true joy of existence. And so the opposite of that, of the place that we've been stuck in trauma and drama, is poverty consciousness. And so the joy coming back of the natural joy of existence, that's abundance. Because you feel that good in the moment, you don't need anything. And you know that she can bring you anything you need. See, we are powerful manifestors. Now, so this isn't like they've shown us as CIA documents, right? Like we create our own reality. And we do this through our intention. And we all have these beautiful intentions. Haven't we just been intending up so much beautiful stuff for so many years? But then we come back to the matrix quarantine. So the energy around the intention is that it can't go anywhere to be manifest without a coherent field. And then this is the point of the technological interference and the entities and, you know, this garbage we've been dealing with on a psychic level. Then it makes it that incoherent field, our intentions can't go and manifest. And here we are beating ourselves up, being like, oh, I still have self-worth issues. It's like, well, maybe you've just been treated incredibly poorly and abused, you know, because you're so powerful. And step up and own it. You know, we got to forgive. We can't take our power back without forgiving those who, what if they were only showing us how powerful we are? Ooh, it's intense, man. It's intense. And this month of February, Mercury or Mars just hanging out those degrees, and starting out this 3-month square with Chiron, taking our power back, our autonomy back, and 3 months of trining with Saturn, moving the timeline forward according to the mother. And Neptune North Node, dreaming the new dream, the original dream. And that means planetary purge. It's going to happen. And so thank you so much for being here, going through all you've gone through, Supernova. It's such an honor to connect with you and work with you. I hope you can go back and, if you didn't yet, get that activation. So powerful in breaking the contracts, this Aquarius New Moon activation. Contracts around what's our rightful spiritual energy that's by birthright in our body, our creation energy. This is what we've been bought and sold with our Social Security card. And yeah, but it's like a fire hose of energy that's ours, but it's been clamped down to a trickle. So how do we negotiate that? If it comes back in a fire hose, what are we going to do with it? All that abundance. You know, what is it going to translate to into our life? What do we want to use that energy for when we take back responsibility for all that's ours? You know, and so really powerful, because we saw the timelines in a concentric energy like the Mayans do. And that's like kind of a real kind of escape the matrix kind of thing, because it's like we looked at the whole evolution timeline of this whole Earth evolution, our evolution alongside of it, and then how you can fit in one lifetime, the whole evolution, 1 month, 1 week, 1 day. So we're gaining our freedom and our autonomy as human souls. We have to do it every day. We've had to fight and win every day. I know it's exhausting. So rest, but also get ready and prepare for the fire hose, you know, for the energy of creation force to come back into your life. And what do you need to feel worthy, capable, responsible to be a co-creator of this energy. What needs to happen in your field to do that? How do you come home to mom and release all the shame and trust completely that you're with her? Your co-creations are the dream. They're safe. No one can be harmed. So all of us are that wounded warrior with the ego death, the false self, the masculine patriarchy energies in our lives falling away as we find ourselves in the dirt. You know, kiss her and let her hug you, hold you, and know that everything, all is well. And if it isn't, she will correct it with her powerful force now that we're with her. And you're with her. You're her instrument. You're her dream. You're the petal of her lotus. Thank you so much for being here. I can feel us taking our places. And we need all of us, right? So if you're on a soul-saving mission, you're on a soul-saving mission. We're all saving our own soul because we're all connected, aren't we? Oh, supernovas. It's an exciting future that lies ahead as we get to demonstrate and be the voice of this feminine dream in the world, this divine feminine mother goddess earth that we get to walk upon and transform with. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your support. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.